They tell us that Japa is the answer to all our prayers. We work, we sweat, and we sell everything just to buy a one-way ticket for the ones we love. But nobody warns you about the silence that follows. Nobody tells you about the cold that travels from the snow of Canada all the way to the heat of a Lagos bedroom. My name is Obina, and this is how I learned that some sacrifices cost more than money. The phone on the nightstand buzzed like a heartbeat against the wood. Obina picked it, his eyes squinting in the dark, hoping to see a Toronto area code. Instead, it was just another network notification. Kelechi stared beside him, rubbing his small eyes. "Daddy, is that mommy? Why she not dey call us?" Obina felt a lump in his throat as he stroked the boy's hair. "She's just busy, Kelechi. She's studying big books so she can build us a palace. Sleep, okay?" Lagos didn't care about Obina's breaking heart. The city was already shouting outside. Obina carried Kelechi onto his shoulders. "Oya, hold me tight. I will be your airplane today." Kelechi giggled, his small hands gripping Obina's forehead. Obina laughed back, but his eyes kept drifting to his pocket. He was waiting for a vibration that never came. The silence from Ziora was becoming louder than the Lagos traffic. Obina woke up at night when he saw Ziora in a simple white dress. "Obina, even if we eat only gari, as long as we are together, I am rich," Ziora had whispered during their small church wedding. They had nothing then but a standing fan and a mattress, yet the room felt full. He remembered the heat, the smell of her perfume, and the way they laughed about their big dreams. Now those dreams had crossed the ocean, leaving him behind in the dust. He struggled to sleep till 4 a.m. in the morning. In the morning, Obina navigated the mud with Kelechi in one hand and a bag of yams in the other. The market was a chaos of smells and shouting. "Daddy, I want biscuits," Kelechi pointed at a colorful stall. Obina reached into his teeny wallet. He had spent his life savings on Ziora's visa and tuition, leaving him to count every naira for soup ingredients. He felt a sharp sting while he was haggling over the price of tomatoes. Was she even thinking about how they are surviving? Obina sat on the edge of the bed, typing with trembling thumbs. "Ziora, even if it's just 1 minute, please talk to your son. He's asking for you." He waited. 2 blue ticks appeared, then nothing. Suddenly, a message popped up from my friend, Jessica, who had traveled with her. "Obina, I beg, leave the girl alone. She is stressed with exams. Don't be a distraction." Oh my God. Distraction? Obina's grip tightened. A woman shouldn't see her family as a distraction. "Daddy, Daddy, Daddy splash." "I be shark," Kelechi yelled, sending soapy water flying onto Obina's only clean work shirt. Obina let out a tired laugh, scrubbing the boy's back. "Hey, shark, don't drown the house, oh." He wrapped Kelechi in a faded towel, holding him a second longer than usual. The boy's skin smelled like a baby powder and innocence. For Kelechi, the world was still safe. Obina envied him. He had to keep smiling while his own world was cracking. Ifeanyi sat on a plastic chair, nursing a cold bottle of beer, while Obina paced the small porch. "Bro, 3 months, not even a video call for the boy. Our friend Jessica says she is busy, but my heart is telling me a different story." Ifeanyi looked up at him. with pity. Obina, abroad changes people. Some forget the ladder they used to climb up. Obina shook his head. I wasn't a ladder, Ifeanyi. I am a husband. The snow in Toronto was beautiful, but lethal. Ziora walked through the university courtyard, her boots crunching on the ice. Beside her, Kian adjusted his scarf and laughed at something she said. You are too funny, Kian, she teased, playfully nudging his arm. She felt a sudden pang of guilt, a ghost of Obina's face flickering in her mind. But the hair here felt light. Back home was full of struggle. Here, she felt like a new woman. Kelechi was tugging at Obina's trousers while the phone rang and rang unanswered. Daddy, is she coming on the screen now? I want to show her my drawings. Obina stared at the blank screen, his heart sinking further. Not yet, Kelechi. Maybe the internet in Canada is broken today. He knelt down and hugged the boy tight, hiding his own face. How do you tell a 3-year-old that his mother has found a new life that doesn't include him? The smell of yam porridge filled the room, but the atmosphere was heavy. Kelechi sat on the floor, picking at his food and dropping bits for an imaginary dog. Daddy, I want mommy to come eat with me. Our school never finished. Obina forced a spoonful into his mouth. It tasted like sand. One day we will all be eating together again, he said in an unconvincing voice. Kelechi frowned and stopped eating till his father cracked some jokes. Obina alone in the room staring into space, thinking about his life. The night before she left, the suitcases were packed and the room was full of tears. Obina, I am going there for us, Ziora had promised, kissing his palms. Kelechi won't even know I'm gone before I send for you both. Obina whispered those words back to the empty room. You promised, Ziora. You said the boy wouldn't feel your absence, but the house is empty and your side of the bed is cold. Kelechi climbed under the tin sheet, his eyes wide. Tell me the story about the brave lion and the cub, Daddy. Obina sat on the edge of the bed, his voice soft and rhythmic. Once upon a time, there was a brave lion who had to protect his cub alone. The lioness went to a far land, but the lion stayed. He fought the hyenas and found food. Kelechi yawned. Is the lion sad? He murmured. No, Obina whispered. The lion is proud. Inside a heated apartment, Ziora sat at a desk, but she wasn't studying. She stared at a photo of Obina holding Kelechi at the airport. I feel like a monster, Kian, she whispered. As she sat on the hump of a chair, Kian rubbed her shoulder gently. You are just evolving, Ziora. You can't feel guilty for enjoying your new life. You deserve to be happy too. Ziora nodded, but the silence from Lagos was starting to scream at her. It was 2 a.m. in Lagos when Obina finally got through. The line crackled. Ziora, is that you? Please. Kelechi has been asking for you every hour. Just talk to him. There was a long silence on the other hand, just the sound of breathing. I know, Obina, she whispered, her voice sounding like a stranger. I need space to breathe here. Everything is different. Before he could beg her to stay on the line went dead. Obina stood by the window, watching the dim yellow lights of the Lagos streets. A generator hummed in the distance, a constant reminder of the life he was still living. I gave her everything, he thought. I worked double shifts until my back ached just to pay for her flight. And now she's breathing different air while I'm suffocating here. Kelechi kicked in his sleep, and Obina realized he was the only anchor the boy had left. The morning sun hit the dusty floorboards. Kelechi was busy stacking plastic blocks. Daddy, look, I built a tall tower for the king. Obina forced a laugh, ruffling the boy's hair. Ha, a grand tower indeed. You will be a great builder one day. But his heart felt like it was crumbling. Kelechi's laughter was a beautiful sound, but every time the boy looked at the door, Obina felt the weight of Ziara's empty space. During lunch at the workshop, Obina sat with Ifeanyi. Ifeanyi, I don't understand. I sent her there to lift us up, not to be forgotten. Ifeanyi chewed his kola nuts slowly. Obina, listen to me. Focus on that boy Kelechi. A woman who forgets the child she carried is fighting a war with her own soul. Don't beg for crumbs, my brother. Stand tall so your son can see a man, not a shadow. In Canada, Ziora was staring at her phone. A video of Kelechi learning to recite his ABCs was playing. She felt a sharp tug in her chest, a memory of the way Obina used to fan her to sleep when the lights went out in Lagos. I can't stop thinking about them, she whispered. Ken didn't look up from his laptop. The past is a heavy coat, Ziora. Why keep wearing it? She stayed silent, feeling the distance. It was bath time again, the hair smelling of local soap. Kelechi was in high spirits. Splashing water onto the floor was a river. Daddy, you be big fish. Kelechi stretched, splashing Obina's face. Obina wiped his face, pulling the boy into a tight, wet hug. We've got each other, Kelechi, just you and me against the world. He realized then that he didn't need a phone call to feel whole. The boy's heartbeat was enough. Finally, the screen flickered to life. Ziora's face appeared, but she looked like a stranger in a heavy winter jacket. Ziora, tell me the truth, Obina said, his voice low. Do you love him? Ziora looked away, her eyes filling with tears. Obina, I didn't plan for this. Life here, it just happened. Obina's voice broke. I sold my father's land for you. I stayed in the dust while you flew. We are alone, Ziora. The call ended with a soft click that felt like a gunshot. Obina sat in the dark, clutching his phone until his knuckles turned white. He looked at the moon hanging over the Lagos rooftops. He couldn't force her to remember the promises she had made. He couldn't control her, but he could control himself. I will not break, he whispered. If she wants to get lost in the snow, that's her choice. Ziora sat in a quiet library, but the books were a blur. She kept replaying the look in Obina's eyes, the look of a man who had been betrayed. She watched a video of him reading to Kelechi, his voice steady despite the pain. He is everything I threw away, she whispered, the cold air of the library suddenly feeling unbearable. She had the scholarship, but she had lost her foundation. Kelechi tripped while running in the yard, skinning his knees on a stone. He wailed, his little face turning red. Obina was there in a second, lifting him up and blowing on the wound. Easy, my boy. Easy, my lion. Daddy is here. I've got you. He cleaned the cut with care, kissing the boy's forehead. Kelechi sniffled, hugging Obina's neck. Love you, Daddy. Obina smiled through his own tears. Life was hard, but this love was unbreakable. The phone rang on a Saturday afternoon. It was Ziora. Obina, please, I just want to hear Keleshi's voice. I miss him. Obina took a deep breath, looking at Kelechi playing with a toy car. Ziora, I have done my best to be both father and mother. You choose to leave us behind in your heart. If you want to talk to him, be a mother who stays, not a voice on a screen. He allowed Ziora to speak with Kelechi. The house was quiet, the only sound being the distant hum of a neighbor's generator. Obina sat by Kelechi's bed, watching the slow rise and fall of his chest. He didn't feel the frantic need to check his messages anymore. The anger was fading into a quiet, cold strength. He was a father first, a man second, and a husband last. He tucked the blanket around the boy's shoulders. Sleep well, my boy. Sleep well, my king. For the first time in months, Obina woke up without a heavy chest. He watched Kelechi sleeping and smiled. A real, genuine smile. The betrayal still hurt like an old scar in cold weather, but it no longer defined him. He walked to the kitchen to start the fire for Pap. He had a son to raise, a life to build, and a future to protect. Ziora was a shadow. Kelechi was the light. Back in Canada, the glitter of the new life was starting to fade. Ziora watched a video of Obina teaching Kelechi his first words. The video had been sent a long time, but she never watched it. She saw the pride in Obina's eyes and the way Kelechi looked at his father with total trust. I'm a stranger to my own blood, she realized. She had gained the world, but traded her soul for a passport. The snow outside looked lonely, not beautiful. Obina was brushing Kelechi's hair, getting him ready for school. He looked at their reflection in the mirror. They looked alike. The same stubborn chin, the same bright eyes. We are okay, Kelechi. You hear me? We are going to be just fine. Kelechi grinned, showing his small teeth. Daddy is a giant. Obina laughed, feeling a surge of power. It was enough. It had always been enough. Obina stood on his small balcony, looking out at the Lagos skyline. The city was a sea of light and struggle, but he felt anchored. Love can falter and people can change, but a father's duty is a rock that the waves cannot move. Across the ocean, Ziora was a memory of a life he once knew. He turned back into the room, closing the door on the past. He was a father and he was finally free.